Hey, welcome. Have you ever really stopped to think about language? I mean, not just as like a list of words we have to memorize, but as this incredibly powerful creative tool. So today, we're going to dive into how we use vocabulary not just to describe the world, but to actually build it piece by piece. Let's start with just one single powerful example. Okay, let's just take one word, home. Sure, it can mean a block of flats or a thatched cottage, but it's so much more than that, isn't it? I mean, think about it. That one word holds an entire universe of meaning. It's a place, a feeling, a whole collection of experiences, all packed into just four letters. And that right there is the big question we're asking today. How do we do it? Like, how do we actually take these little individual words, these tiny building blocks, and construct the huge, complex realities we all live in? Well, that's the journey we're going on right now. All right, so every world, whether it's in a story or in our own heads, has to start somewhere, right? And that starting point is always the foundation, the raw materials the natural world just gives us. So it all kicks off with the landscape. We start with these big, broad stroke words, mountain, river, forest. It's like they're the first strokes on a brand new canvas, defining the physical space with words like valley, coast, or island. And what you have is this pristine, totally unpopulated world. It's just nature. Okay, so now that we have our stage, we add life. We start populating it using a whole new set of words for creatures. We introduce mammals to the forest, and you've got birds of prey soaring overhead. We fill the rivers with fish and add reptiles to the undergrowth, plus fungus and insects. You can feel it, right? With every new word, this world just comes more and more alive. And from this living, breathing world, we start to discover resources. We find wood in the forest. We get stone from the mountains, metal from the earth. These become the raw materials we use to go from just living in the world to actually building our own world right on top of it. All right, so we've got our foundation, we've got our raw materials. Now let's get into how we actually use them to draft the blueprint for our human world, our cities, our homes, the whole shebang. This is so cool. Check out how just a few words, when you combine them, can create a completely different vibe. So on one side, you've got thatched cottage, paired with words like tranquil and ancient. Instantly, you're picturing a quiet rural village, right? Then on the other side, you take skyscraper and you add immense, modern, steel, and boom, you're in the middle of a bustling city. It's amazing. With just a handful of words, we've built two totally different ways of life. And we can zoom in even closer than that. This is where we build a little micro scene. So you take a place, say a street, you add an object, a double-decker bus, and then people, like a colleague, and then an action, like discuss. And suddenly, you can just see it, can't you? You're right there. It's a living, breathing moment, all constructed by combining vocabulary from different places. Okay, so the physical world, it's built. We've got our homes, our cities, our transportation. But what about organizing all the people living inside it? How does that work? And this is where things get really interesting, because we're going to shift from the concrete to the totally abstract. So this next section is all about those invisible but, wow, incredibly powerful structures we build just with language. I'm talking about the systems, education, the economy, politics, that literally frame our entire society. Think about something like getting a job. We've basically created a map for that process, entirely out of words, right? We say you need higher education to get a bachelor's degree, which leads to an internship. You write up a curriculum vitae, you go for an interview, and hopefully you land a profession. Every single one of those steps is just a concept, a word that guides us on our journey. And this is absolutely crucial. Look at these big pillars of modern society: government, economy, education. They feel so real, so solid, but they're not physical things. They're abstract concepts we've built completely out of language. Think about it. Words like Democrat, Republican, Parliament, they literally shape our laws. And terms like poverty, income, or mortgage, they define our financial reality. And humanities, science, law, those words structure our entire system of knowledge. Okay, so we've built the physical world, we've built the systems that run it, but what about our worlds, our personal, individual lives? Let's dive into how we use words to add color and texture to our own experiences. Our hobbies, our feelings, all that good stuff. Now, this chart, don't just see it as data. It's really a beautiful metaphor for what makes a full life. Our lives are so much richer because of all these different worlds within worlds we get to be a part of. Like, there's the world of hobbies, right? It has its own language, people talk about climbing or painting, or the world of sports with soccer and tennis. Every single slice here is more than a category. It's a community, a passion, a whole set of experiences that's defined by its own special vocabulary. And the way we feel inside all of these worlds, well, that's shaped by the adjectives we pick. An experience can be energetic or it can be dull. A place can feel tranquil or exciting. Our whole outlook on life can be optimistic or pessimistic. The entire emotional tone of our reality is literally painted with the descriptive words we choose to use. And all of this brings us to what I think is the most important idea of all. You see, we have all of these building blocks. The nouns, the verbs, the adjectives. The power to build our world, to describe it, and yeah, even to change it, that power rests entirely in the choices we make with our words. So yeah, we can use our vocabulary to name the problems we see around us. We can talk about poverty, we can talk about a strike, or a huge crisis like deforestation. Language gives us the power to put a name to our challenges, to make them real so we can face them. But here's the thing, we don't have to stop there. We can choose different words. Instead of only focusing on what's wrong, we can start building a world of solutions. We can talk about teamwork. We can champion creativity. We can build opportunity. The world we end up living in is the world we speak into existence. And this final sequence, right here, I think it just perfectly captures the ultimate power of language. With the right combination of words, we can spark absolutely massive change. When we share knowledge, that leads to dialogue. And that dialogue, well, that can lead to a revolution. A total, complete transformation of the world we thought we knew. So there you have it. Language is our ultimate creative toolkit. The words we choose really are the building blocks of our reality, which of course leaves us with one last really big question to think about. With all of these building blocks right at your fingertips, what world are you going to create?